This video is brought to you by Cracks Only. The link is in the video description below to get the latest gear off their website. Whether you play football or you don't, there is something there for everybody. Straight out of LA. Check it out.
What's going on, guys? Good morning. Welcome back to United View. Hope everyone is doing very well, having a good Friday. It's Friday. It's the end of the week. We can relax nearly there, 24 hours away from another Manchester United match day as well. A rare Saturday 3 p.m. kickoff in the Premier League. Looking forward to that as well. We have so much to get into this morning. We really do, about the summer. Now that Sir Jim Ratcliffe and INEOS are through the door, indeed, planning for the summer is well underway when it comes to incomings and outgoings as well. United reportedly have steered clear of any trouble when it comes to PSR, which means there are plans to spend big in the summer transfer window. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about who possibly could be coming in, what positions maybe to be looking for, which the recruitment chiefs at Manchester United, Omar Barada, Dan Ashworth, if he's going to be in situ, we don't know. Jason Wilcox possibly as well. Maybe the manager, Erik ten Hag, who they're going to be looking at in the summer. We're also going to be talking about who could be playing some of their last games for Manchester United in the next few months as well. Who could be possibly leaving in the summer too. We're also going to be talking a little bit about Thomas Tuchel. Now that he's on his way out of Bayern Munich, he's eyeing up a job in the Premier League, and reportedly, he's eyeing up Manchester United. Now, is he a fool, or is there something in that story? We'll be chatting about that. And a Manchester United, I would say legend, has been praising Rasmus Højlund because, indeed, he deserves some praise. So we're going to be chatting about all that. No flex this morning. He's on assignment in an undisclosed location. Yeah? Can't say where it is, or whatever. Maybe you can guess. In the live chat, let me know as well. But let's see who's in the chat as well this morning. I can see all of you guys in there as well. Daniel Luciano says, morning, Owen. Big up, UV fam. Can see you in there, Daniel Luciano. See if I can get your comments actually up on the screen here. Because it's always good when we can see what you guys are saying. Let's try this again. Daniel Luciano is in there. Oh, I don't know why that's not coming up. That's a disgrace in the cheat. Who else have we got in there? Motada says, good morning, Owen. Good morning to you. There you go. Chalaboy Comics says, good morning. Morning, Ultraviolet fam. There you go. Harold saying, good morning as well. Joe Blackman, John James. Tabrez says, KG the People's Champ. Wow. The People's Champ is gone Hollywood. He's like The Rock. He has gone Hollywood. He is in LA. I think he flew out yesterday, actually. Big up to KG. What else we got in here? Avi says, it's a bit cold, isn't it, Owen? You're absolutely right, Avi. It is cold. This morning I woke up. I was under my duvet. Didn't want to get up. But I do like it when it's quite cold in the morning as well. We've got good morning here, watching from South Africa. Wayne says good morning. Shiva says morning UV community. A Kelly G14 says good morning. I'm Goddess says locked in, locked on as well. So we can see everyone in the chat as well. We've already got a members chat actually. Philip's been a member for 13 months. Big up to you. Appreciate all your support. Says top of the morning, Owen. Looking like Eric Bischoff today, bro. Quick question. What is our main priority this summer window? Keep up the work. Eric Bischoff. Eric Bischoff's grey. I've still got this luscious locks of brunette follicles. Yeah, KG would be jealous. As for the main priority in the summer window, hold that thought, because we are going to be chatting a lot about that as well. Chalaboy Comics says it's 1 a.m. out here, but we can't miss the morning updates. That's dedication as well. We've got Farouk watching from Germany. We got live from Kenya as well. We got from a Hale in Cardiff. Look at that as well. Look at that. Nice. Got Ro watching from Bahrain as well. We've got Canada in the chat. The UV community truly is global, isn't it? And we appreciate every single one of you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As always, this morning's show, The Morning View, is brought to you by Cracks Only. You can get your t-shirts, your hoodies, your bucket hats, your grip socks, your wash bags, all of the apparel you can think of. Big emerging developing brands in California where KG is. Hopefully he gets some kind of care package. I mean, he did say actually on the Trinity podcast last week that he had told Flex to go to the guys at Cracks Only and say, hey, I'm out in California, so maybe KG might bump into them. Who knows? But if you want to get your Cracks Only merch, you can do so. Links in the video description. We appreciate them for supporting the channel and supporting you. Lots of people saying they're really enjoying the merch that they've got thus far. Craig's been a member for 3 months, says, I honestly skipped work to watch this live. Love for you, Owen. I'm not sure that's the best idea, Craig. I don't want to get you in trouble, but I like the dedication. That's the dedication that Craig is bringing this morning, yeah? He said, who needs work? Who needs work? Unless like the job is really serious. If you're like a teacher, that would be the students looking around going, I swear we had a 9 a.m. maths class today. I mean, where's Craig? He's in the stationery cupboard, locked in, going, I've got to get the updates. I've got those updates. I need the updates. So appreciate you, Craig. Appreciate court style. Craig's a surgeon. They're going, I swear. There was a gallbladder that was going to be taken out this morning. I'm not sure what that was. But yes, you've come here for the news, and that's indeed what I'm going to give you. So let's start off talking about a major spend in the summer. This is really interesting stuff, actually, because of course we've heard so much in January. I'm really talking about the summer too, that Manchester United are walking a bit of a tightrope when it comes to PSR, FFP, whatever you want to call it. But by all accounts, it's not going to stop Manchester United from spending and making big moves when it comes to the first INEOS-driven summer transfer window. So this... Wow, I tell you what was good is that my mic's not on that bit. I tell you what, let's try this again. There we go. Let's try that again. Go to it now. Now you can hear me. Tremendous. Sir Jim Ratcliffe, disgrace of the cheat, Flecknology. It was good that I noticed it. I noticed it very quickly. That was, if it was KG, then that'd have been ages. That'd have been a long time. But we fixed it. Don't worry. So saying Sir Jim Ratcliffe is ready to sanction a significant transfer spend at Manchester United this summer, with the club's financial restrictions easing and a number of player sales planned. Continues on by saying the INEOS owner identified improving recruitment as his key priority after completing his £1.2 billion investment, and a busy summer is expected at Old Trafford, with United no longer in danger of breaching the Premier League's profit and sustainability rules. That's the PSR. It's like the Premier League FFP, that kind of situation as well. It continues on by saying United were unable to sign any new players during the January transfer window due to PSR restrictions, but whilst remaining mindful of the limits the club will have more room for manoeuvre when the accounting period resets on July 1st. Once again, this comes from Matt Hughes and Chris Wheeler from the Mail. Continues on by saying, under PSR rules, Premier League clubs are only permitted losses of £105 million over a 3-year period, leaving United with little leeway last month after spending over £500 million on new players over the last 3 seasons. United's annual income has risen considerably from £477 million to £648 million over the same period, however, giving them more cash to spend this summer. Basically, we've made more money, so we can spend a little bit more. Player sales, though, are still expected and will still be needed, but it's going to be a big summer when it comes to exits. We'll talk about that in a bit. Now, while players targeted will be partially dependent on outgoings, as I just mentioned, this summer's United's priorities at this stage are believed to be a centre-forward, central midfield player and a centre-back. Now, let me know in the chat if you agree with those positions and how you would rank those positions as well. How would you say that's an accurate things that we need? Do we need more than that as well? Let me know what you think about that, because when I was reading that this morning, certainly I was of the mindset of, well, maybe we might need a little bit more than that, but we'll see. It continues on by saying, United can increase their PSR clearance further and raise cash for signings through player trading and cutting wages in a process which has already started. Anthony Martial's £275,000 a week wages will be off the books when he leaves the club on a free transfer at the end of the season, while Raphael Varane's £340,000 weekly wages could also go as United opted against triggering the one-year extension option in his contract last December. So already we're starting to see, again, why these players on their big contracts, why they have to go, or at the very least in the case of Varane, why they have to be renegotiated too. Jadon Sancho, Donny van de Beek, Facundo Pellistri and Hannibal Mejbri were all sent out on loan last month and are unlikely to return to United, with the club hopeful that their sales could raise over £50 million. Sirens in the chat, it's early. It continues on by saying the futures of Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Casemiro are also uncertain, while one of Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof are likely to be made available for transfer this summer, which again is interesting too because, well, I will circle back to that one. Someone remind me, Lindelof and Maguire, as to which one is going to go, because I think that's very interesting too. Marcus Rashford has also attracted interest from Paris Saint-Germain due to the imminent departure of Kylian Mbappe, and any sale of the England striker would be transformative for the club's finances. Finally, United will also be tempted to cash in on Mason Greenwood, despite Ratcliffe stating yesterday that the club, or on Wednesday, that the club will review his position in the summer. As an academy product, the sale of Greenwood would be registered immediately as pure profit in United's 2024 to 2025 accounts, giving a major boost to the transfer budget. So obviously, look, there's so much there, but I guess the big takeaway is that we managed to stay clear of the PSR issues that we've had, which means that we do have quite a lot of room for manoeuvring this summer to buy players rather, and also it's going to be a big summer when it comes to exits. Now we'll talk a bit more about the exits in just a second, but we spoke first, didn't we, about the positions we need to go for. Now I was just seeing in the chat here, Adrian saying left back, centre back and centre forward priority. Andre saying full backs. Set Off Sound says goalkeeper, saying that we need the goalkeeper's the priority. Wayne saying left back and right back. Daniel Luciano saying left back definitely needs to be added. Sean says 100% need a left back. Gotair says left back first. MA says we need 2 centre-backs, 2 central midfielders and 1 centre-forward. Nem Green says left-back as well. So let's go in terms of positions that we need in the summer. I totally agree. I've said over the last few shows, haven't I, that I think it's going to be a really big summer when it comes to our defence. When it comes to our defence, I think we need left-back absolutely as a priority for the summer. Just because, not even necessarily because of the season about Terrell Malacia and he's had, this big knee injury that's kept him out for the whole season. But I think with Luke Shaw, a decision has to be made with him, certainly, doesn't it? With Erik ten Hag, he preaches consistency. And the press conference is at 1:45 today. We'll be covering it live at 2. But he preaches consistency in these press conferences, in these interviews, and he wants to name as stable a side as he possibly can. And you cannot, if your best back four includes Luke Shaw, then it's almost guaranteed there are going to be points in the season where, or chunks of the season, large portions of the season, where you can't play your best back four because Luke Shaw isn't available. Now, obviously, I'm not naive. You can't always name the same team over and over and over again, and you can't always name the same back four over and over again. Injuries happen, suspensions happen, schedules evolve over the season. This time last season, we were in 4 competitions. And, because of that, we had to constantly rotate. We had to constantly take people in and out of the team. Although Ten Hag tried, certainly didn't he, to keep it as consistent as he possibly could. This season, we're now in a situation where we're in 2 competitions. We've got the Premier League and the FA Cup, and Luke Shaw's not going to play again for the rest of the season. And he's been in and out of the side through injury this season as well, as have many people. But there's that element of consistency that we know at this point you're not going to get. And you have to kind of get your head around it. And I have to keep the same energy, because I've said the same thing about other players in the past. Anthony Martial is one of them. where you say eventually you have to stop doing well, hopefully he can maintain his fitness. Hopefully he can stay fit. And I know it sounds cold, and I know it sounds harsh, and I know it sounds cruel, but it's the truth. It's the reality. And you've got to be ruthless. If Jim Ratcliffe wants to be successful, if Jim Ratcliffe wants Manchester United to be challenging, as he's mentioning, for Premier Leagues, for Champions Leagues, and all of these competitions, then you can't have players that are injury prone. You just can't. Or they've got to be so good that you're willing to put up with that. And you as a team and as a squad have got to be so good that, yeah, we know that he's got his injuries, but when he plays, he's so good. And when he's out of the team, we've got someone else in there and there's no real drop-off. But Luke Shaw's our best left-back. He's the best left-back we've got. He's our starting left-back. And our starting left-back isn't always available. And then what do? I mean, the left-back position has been totally cursed this season, and the decision to send Sergio Reguilon back in January is looking more and more foolish, because I think the expectation was that Malacia would be on his way back, and then on top of that, Shaw wouldn't pick up an injury, but more for the medical department. If you could look at Luke Shaw and say, no, he won't pick up an injury for the rest of the season, of course he will. Terrell Malacia, that setback, maybe they didn't see that coming, I don't know. But we now find ourselves in a position again. We've got Fulham at Old Trafford tomorrow. We've got one available fullback. One. That ain't good enough. So left back is absolutely a priority. Centre back is a priority for us in the summer. I mean, we know that Lisandro Martinez is a starting centre back for us. He's the first centre back put on the paper when it comes to the team sheet. And I don't give it the he's injury prone thing. He's had 2 freak injuries and he's been very, very unfortunate. It's not like I've seen people try and compare Martinez to Shaw or Anthony Martial. Sandro Martinez hasn't been picking up muscle injuries each time a different one. He broke his foot, and then when he came back, someone fell on his knee and his knee bent the wrong way. That's got nothing to do with his fault or anything. That's got nothing to do with anything like that. That, to me, is people looking to pick and moan at certain things, right? So, Lisandro Martinez, he'd be the starting centre-back. But we know Varane, he could be going in the summer. We know Harry Maguire, he could be going in the summer. We know Victor Lindelof, he could be going in the summer. So at the very least, we need one centre-back, probably a starting centre-back, probably a right-footed centre-back to partner alongside Lisandro Martinez for the future as well. So that's absolutely on the priority list. Right back, we're going to need a right back because I think Wan-Bissaka's going to go. I think Diogo Dalot has nailed down that spot, but if there's an opportunity to get someone that's equal to or better than Dalot, then United have to do it. And then United have to say to Dalot, compete. See if you can do better, So I think we'll be looking at a right back in the summer. We're probably going to be looking at a central midfielder as well, because the chances are that Casemiro could be going too. So who's going to be that sort of defensive midfielder that's going to be partnering Kobbie Mainoo, who can get around the pitch, can win tackles? Who's that person going to be? I mean, he's not going to be playing tomorrow, but Paulinho at Fulham would be an amazing choice. But, well, he was linked to Bayern a couple of times. Would he even want to go to Bayern at the moment? Would he be, because Bayern are in a bit of turmoil, in a bit of flux? Depends who they get, I suppose, isn't it, in the summer when it comes to their manager. But we need certainly a defensive midfielder too. We need another striker. Martial's going to go, and we've got one striker. I think there's a general acceptance that Rasmus Højlund has played too many games this season. He's in fantastic form now, but I don't think this was the plan for him. And if something happens to Rasmus Højlund, who do we have? who have we got? If Rasmus Højlund gets hurt, we've got to put Rashford back up front. So already there, we're talking about, left back, centre back, right back, midfielder, striker. That's already sort of 5 positions, isn't it? And there's an argument to be made for other positions too. So it's going to be a big summer. It's going to be really interesting to see how United operate in the summer, how quickly they get deals done, how quickly they move players on, and how much money they actually spend. Do we overspend like we have in the past, or do we make some signings that we go, that was pretty shrewd, that was we didn't overpay for that, that's good value for money? So it's absolutely fascinating as to how United are going to be operating in the summer, I think. And I don't, with that many key positions and with that many key areas, I just don't know if I have it in me for another Manchester United saga transfer window that we've been so accustomed to over the last couple of years. Because let's face it, this past summer and Erik ten Hag's first summer, they were draining with the monitoring. We're prepared to walk away. We've walked away. We'll go back in. We're going to monitor again. Like, even the coverage of it, I think, is going to be really, really fascinating too. Because we're used to this completely stretched out process, aren't we? And what we have seen, and this isn't really player transfers, so proof will be in the pudding with that, but what we have seen with some of the executive signings, and they are different to player signings, but with these executive signings, Omar Barada, and even to an extent the Dan Ashworth situation, I know that's not done, signed, sealed, and delivered or anything like that at the moment, but he's going to be coming to United. It's just a case of when. That's all happened fairly quickly and fairly fast. So I'm very curious to see how they operate and who's going to be the people driving that. You know, we know Omar Barada is going to be there, but who's going to be if Dan Ashworth isn't in situ by that point because he's still on gardening leave and he has to come in 2025? Who is going to be driving that? Is it going to be Jason Wilcox? Is John Murtough still going to be around? Because there's rumours that he could possibly still be around in an administrative role. Or if Dan Ashworth is once again not in situ at that point, does Murtough have to stick around to drive that? I hope not, because his track record hasn't been very good over the last 2 seasons. But that could be something that they have to do too. So there's still so many moving parts when it comes to this as well. Couple of got a super chat here, actually. Let me get this up on the screen. I am Godders says the Pharaoh needs the $1 Million Man theme song. Big up the UV fam. Yes, well, everybody's got a price. The Pharaoh doesn't, though. The Pharaoh's price is unlimited, really. Yes, that's what the Pharaoh does. That's what the Pharaoh does. What else are people saying here in the chat at the moment? Kristen says Nico Williams and is it Guido? Is that how you say it? Rodriguez, both available on a free this summer. Knight says Brathwaite to Debo, Wiffer, Theo Hernandez, Amadou Onana, Greenwood next summer, Wirtz and Diogo Costa. So lots of people have got their lists. As to who they would like to see Manchester United go for in the summer. Abhishek says we need a left back, 2 centre backs, 2 midfielders, centre forward, and a right winger at the very least. Daniel Luciano says I hate Rashford up front as well. So certainly there is a lot. Andre says Alphonso Davies contract ending soon, right? I think he's going to Madrid, isn't he? I think isn't he been heavily linked to be going to Real Madrid? I mean, Real Madrid, how frightening are they going to be? You know, with Mbappe, possibly Alphonso Davies, and then obviously you get into Vinny Jr., you get into Rodrigo, you get into Camavinga, you get into Bellingham, you get into Tchouaméni. I mean, my God. My God. Terrifying stuff. And it's just, it is kind of crazy, isn't it, how these sort of other big teams move. Just at the point when, you know, with Madrid, it looks like they're in a bit of transition. Benzema goes, blah, 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 blah. Give it a season or 2. Boom. Back. Got the players. Done. You know, because that's what they do. Our stadium, we need to fix that. Give us a couple of seasons. Done. Fixed. Sorted. They do move different. And that's how United should move. That's how United should operate. Even to an extent, and you don't want to give them credit or anything like that, but even to an extent, you look at Liverpool last summer. They didn't have a great season, finished the season very strongly, and you look towards what they needed to do. And everyone said they need a new midfield. They just got a new midfield. Done. Fixed. Now the top of the league. Not bad going, is it, as well? So Manchester United, a lot of catching up to do as well. But hopefully, as I mentioned, well, as Sir Jim Ratcliffe mentioned, hopefully can eventually knock City and Liverpool off their perch. We've got over 1,000 people watching. Not even 200 likes. Well, I know there's been a lot going on. I know there's been a lot going on this morning. And I know there's a lot of energy in the chat. I know a lot of people are talking about... And a lot of people are talking about signings they want to get and targets that they're looking for as well. So, yes, we'll pause. We'll hit the like button. If you haven't already, click that like button. Be sure to subscribe as well whilst you're at it. And I suppose a bit of a reminder too, as for what's on tap for today. As I mentioned, there is going to be a press conference. So I'll be covering that around 2 o'clock. So there'll be plenty to discuss then. It's going to be really interesting, of course, to see Erik ten Hag's first official comments since everything has been made official when it comes to Sir Jim Ratcliffe and INEOS as well. So we'll be doing that at 2 o'clock. Also, the Trinity podcast. Yes, the Trinity podcast will be out 6 p.m. Now, a bit of a disclaimer when it comes to it. And I might do something where there's something like at the beginning of the show. It was filmed on Wednesday. Now, it was filmed on Wednesday because KG had to travel, obviously. So that was literally the only time, was the latest time, really, we could do it. So, but what it is quite fun, is it's a legitimate, real-time reaction to KG hearing all of the Jim Ratcliffe quotes. At the time of recording it, he had not heard anything when it pertained to Jim Ratcliffe. Nothing at all. So what it is a nice insight into KG reacting in real time to everything. So that's going to be dropping later tonight at 6 p.m. It's a lot of fun. A lot of people have been really enjoying the Trinity podcast as well. Let's move on and let's talk about player exits. Now, we've spoken about what positions we need to be recruiting for in the summer, but who do we need to be selling? Who needs to be on their way out in the summer? Well, let's talk about it. So this came from ESPN, who was saying that Manchester United are prepared for a squad clear-out this summer to help speed up progress on the pitch under new minority owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe, sources have told ESPN. Recruitment conversations with Ratcliffe and INEOS director Sir Dave Brailsford have focused on a need to offload players to boost the budget. It continued on by saying there are question marks over the futures of as many, I'll get there again, eventually, of as many as 11 first-team players, including Christian Eriksen, Raphael Varane, Casemiro, Harry Maguire, Scott McTominay, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and Victor Lindelof. Anthony Martial, out of contract in the summer, is set to leave on a free transfer, while United will also invite offers for players already on loan, including Jadon Sancho, Donny van der Beek, Facundo Pellistri, and Brandon Williams, kind of similar to what the report was saying earlier on. United are hoping to sign a striker and a defender in the summer, while also improving the overall quality of the squad. So, this is when I said we'll circle back to the Victor Lindelof and Harry Maguire and all that kind of stuff. Let me know in the chat which players you think need to go this summer, and I suppose how many need to go in the summer as well. If I'm going through the team, and sometimes it's difficult because you forget players that are currently out on loan, like Sancho, like Donny, etc. So who's going to go in the summer, potentially? Right, start at right back. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, I think, will go in the summer. He will go. He's got 1 year left on his contract. They extended it to sell. If we're going after Elise, I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to use him in that kind of deal to say you could go back to Crystal Palace. So Wan-Bissaka, I think, is going in the summer. Centre-backs. I'm of the impression I think Raphael Varane's going to end up going, to be honest with you. I think that, I mean, he's on a lot of money. I suppose it's up to Varane. Does Raphael Varane want to stay on reduced terms? My feeling is it's going to end up a bit like a De Gea situation. So I think Varane will ultimately go. And it's not a case of his quality. It's a case of wages and availability, I think, as well. So I think Wan-Bissaka, Varane. Then you get into the territory of, is it going to be Maguire or is it going to be Lindelof? Now, for me, I think it should be Harry Maguire. Now, I know Flex says he thinks that Maguire is going to stay. He thinks Maguire's going to stay. I say Lindelof, keep him, and Lindelof's got a year left. They triggered that extension, I think, as well. And I say let him go on a free transfer next summer, because the reason I say that is because you can get money for Harry Maguire. After the season he had this year, plus he's going to play in the Euros, and one would hope England are going to do well in the Euros, you'd be able to charge a decent amount for Harry Maguire. Not maybe the amount that we were probably looking at getting from West Ham last year, but I think you could get decent money for Harry Maguire. So that's already 3 people out. I think Casemiro's probably going to go in the summer as well. We've heard those reports about linking him to a move to Saudi. Now, the report suggested that this past summer, we got near enough what we paid for him from Saudi Arabia, but United turned that down. Whether or not that's legitimate, I don't know. But I think Casemiro probably goes as well. Who else then, if you're looking at midfielders? Is there a possibility that McTominay could go? I don't know if he goes. Scott McTominay. I think with the amount of players that are going, and I know that from an FFP point of view, that would be pure profit, and I suppose that is an option United might look at, just in terms of if they really want to bring in the money. But I wouldn't be shocked if McTominay stays, to be honest. I wouldn't be shocked if he sticks around. So I'm going to say McTominay probably stays. And we're already getting rid of quite a few players. You can't get rid of everyone, of course. Now, going into the sort of front three, I know people have suggested that Rashford's going to go to PSG. I'd be very, very surprised. I'd be very surprised if Marcus Rashford goes, to be honest with you. Now, again, pure profit. So if PSG put a bid in for like 70, 80 million pounds, how can you turn it down, to be honest with you, right? After this season as well. So, but I don't see that being the case. I don't think Rashford's going to go to PSG. We know the players out on loan. They're probably going to go. Jadon Sancho, Donny van de Beek is going to go. Brandon Williams, he's out on loan. He'll go. So you've already got there, that's like 7 people, realistically. 7 people that are going to go for a lot of money. And that's a lot. And that is a major player overhaul, to say the least, isn't it? So that would be the 7 that I think probably end up going. I mean, I don't know what you guys think. You can let me know in the chat. Oh, Hannibal as well. Wouldn't be shocked if he goes. Although I don't think we're going to be getting, what was it, like 20 million as part of his thing to, part of his loan deal to Sevilla. I don't think Sevilla are going to pay that, because it's not going particularly great for him over there, is it? So I don't think Sevilla, that one's going to happen. But I still think he might end up coming back and then going, to be honest with you. What are people saying here in the chat at the moment? Declan says, can't be done this summer, but Martial, Sancho, Greenwood, Rashford, Van der Beek, Medjbri, Bruno, McTominay, Maguire, Lindelof, Shaw, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Williams. I mean, yeah, definitely can't be done this summer, but a lot of people certainly could be on their way out as well. What else are people saying here? Imran says also McTominay counts for the homegrown quota as well. That's true. Makish says people that want Casemiro gone are weird. Were you born yesterday? So many class players play until their late 30s. Cas is 32. The thing with Casemiro is, and this is when people get, I think, they hear what they want to hear. When it comes to Casemiro, nobody is disputing his quality. Nobody is disputing what he's done in his career or anything like that. Nobody's saying that. What I think people are saying, what I'm saying is, Casemiro's on a lot of money, and if you're in the middle of, all right, we're refreshing, we're getting players out, we're raising funds, then you look towards maybe the older players that are on big wages and say, how can that be better spent? How can we find the next Casemiro, or how can we find a younger defensive midfielder that's better suited to this team? It's not saying, Casemiro, you're rubbish or anything like that. It's saying, can we get someone in that's younger on a lower wage, and can we spread that out a little bit more as well? You know, that's what it is. We're getting into territory of, so you're saying Casemiro never won the Champions Leagues. And so you're saying, I think it's fair to see at Casemiro this season, certainly, and you can argue if it's system or physical or what have you, that he has lost a yard. He's lost a step. And he is 32. And it was one of the signings that actually Jim Ratcliffe himself pointed to, wasn't it? When he was taking a look at the books. Way back when he first went to Old Trafford and Carrington, going, this deal financially doesn't make sense. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Why have you done this? You know, one of the highest paid fees for a player over 30 and huge wages on, was it 4+ 1 year contract? That doesn't make a lot of sense economically and sort of as a long-term vision. So why are we doing that? So I think Casemiro will go. And also, it depends on the market too. There will be options for Casemiro in the summer. Absolutely. Most likely the Saudi market. Most likely the Saudi option. And if that's there, and they're offering decent money, and they'll also say you don't have to pay off his contract too, then United will look at that and they'll go, well, that's probably a good option for us to take. Doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean you're rubbish, we're kicking you out the door, never talk to us again. Doesn't mean that at all. It's just looking forward. It's just looking at the project, I think, anyway. VK's been a member for 20 months, says smash the like indeed. We've got over 1,100 people watching. We got over 200 likes. We can get to 500. I mean, you know, solo shows, I know they can be a bit of a monologue and all that kind of stuff, but we can do it. We can do it. We can get 500 likes. Minimum, we can get to 300 right now, if you haven't already. So we've got, what's this? We've got just over 50 likes to go to 300. We can do that. We can raise those numbers. In fact, let me find the actual soundbite as well. The encouraging one. Where is it?
You can do it!
You know, so now you have to, you know, because he's told you to, basically. I can't play some of these sounds. I do have some new sounds that are going to be debuting in the Trinity later on. And Flex was a big fan. He was a big fan of those new sounds, actually. Yes. Big up Just Josh Media Graphics Guru Visual Ninja in the chat. Just says disgraceful. I think he's referring to the likes as well. Get the likes up for Josh, maybe, because, you know, I think he's been very upset recently. You know, since midweek, he's been, you know, Porto. I wish I had the Robbie soundbite that we're going to do this. I don't have that one. That's exclusive to KG's soundboard, but not really going great for Arsenal in that game against Porto. David Raya with his little arms, trying to get that one. Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it, could he? Bless him. In the last minute, you know. It's a different version of goalkeeping, is it? You know, to stand really far over to one side and get lobbed from that far out. It was very strange, wasn't it, David Raya? Yeah. But when it comes to the Champions League, though, and maybe this is because we're not in it now. We're not in the Champions League. Where's Manchester United? Not there. It's not lost on me, certainly. I just find it really boring this season. I don't know. Maybe that's just because my team isn't in it. And I don't know if it's because the quarterfinal ties were really like just dry, quite just dry ties, dry games. But yeah, it was just really dull, really boring. And the problem is, you say that, they go, so you want the Super League then? That's what you want? It's just very dry. I still like it. I like the away goals rule as well. I was a fan of the away goals rule because I like the drama that it added to it as well. Can you imagine if the away goals rule existed now, next when Porto go to the Emirates, there'd be that kind of added bit of like drama to it, wouldn't there? They'd be like, wow, you know, Arsenal have got to go and get the goal, but if they concede, they're in big trouble because it's not only 2-0 down, but there's a away goal in there. I like the away goal rule, and I don't know, it was just dull. For me, it gave those sort of smaller teams going to those big grounds a chance. Because if you manage to get that goal, whoa, drama. But now, yeah. And I think part of it is because, you know, some of the biggest players in recent history in terms of the Champions League, they're all not in it anymore. Ronaldo's not there. Messi's not there. Neymar's not there. Benzema's not there. It hurts it, obviously. You know, that clearly. But, yeah, I like the away goals rule. I wish they would bring it back. But, yeah. Josh Media says, I hated away goals. We always got fucked by it. Lose at home, win at the San Siro, etc. Exactly. So bring it back. Please. Exactly. That's what we need to do. Bring it back. We are 21 likes away from 300. So if you haven't already, click the like button as well. Be sure to subscribe as well. Bottom right-hand corner. Let's move on and talk about Thomas Tuchel. Now, this is an interesting one. About Thomas Tuchel, of course, we know he's leaving Bayern Munich at the end of the season because they're not doing very well. Now, Florian Plettenberg, or as Flex would call him, Florentine, has said, news. Tuchel, he's definitely taking a look at Manchester United, as reported in our show a few days ago, and now confirmed again. Man United appeals to him in the Premier League. Tuchel can well imagine coaching Manchester United someday. He doesn't see his mission in the Premier League as completed yet. FC Barcelona is still an interesting topic for him in the summer. He's on the list. This comes from Sky Sports in Germany. I say no. And we'll put a poll in the chat, actually, if you would take Thomas Tuchel at United. All right, here we go. Would you take Tuchel at United? There you go. Poll is in the chat. Now, when it comes to Thomas Tuchel, I'm not saying he's a bad coach or anything like that. Look, he won the Champions League with Chelsea. I think he did a good job at Chelsea, actually, to be fair to him. And the way that was handled was a complete mess. And as we've seen, when it comes to Todd Boehly and the way that's just what's happened since his takeover, no coach can succeed. And I think Chelsea was the perfect job for him, really. He was liked there. He liked the club. He had won a Champions League. That was the best place for him. At United, no. At Bayern, it's been a complete disaster, really. Complete, total disaster. Because when he came in last season, and again, I know people will point to he won the Bundesliga. But Bayern, the way Bayern has been operating over the last couple of years is kind of crazy, to be honest with you. Because, so, you trace it back to Hansi Flick. Hansi Flick, one of the most successful coaches they'd ever had. I think he's got the highest win percentage of any Bayern coach. Won every trophy. I mean, the games that he lost, I think you can count them on one hand or something like that. I think like it's that's how good of a job Hansi Flick did at Bayern Munich. And he started off as an interim, didn't he, as well? Like, that's how good he had done. So it gets towards the end of his contract. I think there was some sort of messing around with his contract. He also had obviously had ties with the German national team because he had been an assistant manager there before. Goes there. Right, they go for Julian Nagelsmann. I think at the time that was a record as well. I think that was a record for the amount that had been spent on bringing a manager to a club too. Bringing Nagelsmann, young coach, he's in his, like, his 30s or something. And the idea is, right, okay, he's going to be our manager for the next 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. We're going to be building a dynasty here. This is what it's going to be. And they get cold feet. They change their mind. Thomas Tuchel is available. Sorry, Julia, we're gonna bring Thomas Tuchel. Bring him in. Because I think they hadn't done particularly great in the Champions League or something like that, if I recall. And the title race at that time was a bit close. So they bring in Thomas Tuchel. It didn't get any better. It didn't get any better at all. And they shouldn't have won the Bundesliga last season. Borussia Dortmund, in terms of sort of bottle jobs, it's one of the most, I think, epic bottle jobs. Win at home, last day of the season, you win the Bundesliga. They lost. They even missed a penalty earlier on, I think really early in the game. And Bayern, yes, they had to come back from being behind in their game and they win the Bundesliga, but it was a massive, massive bottle job from Borussia Dortmund. You can't overlook that at all. So Tuchel gets lucky, really, last season. This season, they go big in the summer. Harry Kane, Kim Min-jae, as Tuchel said himself, we're signing the England captain from an English side. It's a big deal. What happens? I think the red flag was there on Harry Kane's first game. Remember that Super Cup game against RB Leipzig? And lots of people were watching because Harry Kane playing for Bayern Munich. Let's have a look. And they got played off the park. Like, played off the park. And people at the time were like, oh my God, that was surprising. And Tuchel goes to after the game, he said, oh, we have to tell Harry Kane, it's not always like this. Kind of is. Kind of is this season. And they look, in terms of like the second place, I know that because I did watch when they were playing Leverkusen the other day, and they were saying that it's like the most points that a second place team has ever had, because obviously, look, Leverkusen haven't lost a game, but still, to the way that they got played off the park, the signs have been there for a while, it's not worked out. And to circle it back to Manchester United, I mean, Jim Ratcliffe said in the interview, didn't he? We're going to pick a style of play and then we're going to communicate that through the club. Is the style of play that we're going to play? I mean, what did he play? He played at Chelsea. He played a back three, back five, didn't he? I just don't. He's just not the right coach for Manchester United. I don't think that's the right move for us. So he can want Manchester United. I know when we played Bayern Munich earlier on this season, he was very complimentary about us in all of the press conferences. Flex even spoke to Thomas Tuchel in the press conference, but I don't see Thomas Tuchel going to Manchester United. That's just not the right fit, I don't think, for us. So I don't see that one as happening. I just see it as agents doing what agents do, and they look at the landscape, and there are a lot of big jobs available in the summer. There's obviously Liverpool, there's Barcelona, there's all these big jobs available, and I think it's seeing if they can get their client into a job. I think so. I would say no, and it looks like the majority of the people in the poll are saying that as well. The question was, would you take Tuchel at United? Only 11% of you saying yes, 89% saying no. So that's the, I guess, what people are saying in the chat as well. Big up to VK has gifted five. Yeah, that's right, five UV memberships.
Tell me he didn't just say that.
I've got to get, can you dig that sucker? I've got to get that one. I've got to get that one on the board, don't I? But big up to VK for gifting those memberships. I'll see if I can see those in the who got gifted those in the chat. If I scroll up, I can just see that maybe the last two I can see Paul Lucas, and I can see that DK was gifted by VK. Would you look at that? DK by VK. But big up to everyone that got that got gifted the memberships. A reminder to that, because people do ask all the time. They say, how do I get gifted a membership? How do I get given one? It is done randomly, but you have to opt in. So if you click on the sort of green bit there where it says VK has gifted 5 memberships. If you click on that, there should be something on there that says like allow gifted memberships or something like that. Some people don't have that setting turned on. I didn't have that turned on. I found out the other day. I was on, I got gifted one on KG's channel, actually. It's true. I got gifted a membership on KG's channel during AFCON. So make sure you go on to that bit and click allow gifted memberships. So you have to kind of like opt in as well. You have to opt in for it. So that's how you can be gifted in the future. If people indeed wish to gift more memberships, you never know. You could be a lucky person. It's like buying a ticket to the raffle. If you don't buy a ticket, you're never going to win, are you? Josh Media says, wish I could get one. We don't want to give you one. So, that's basically what that is. What else are people saying here? Director of Football says, exactly! Neither is Ten Hag. So Jim Ratcliffe kind of suggested he wants exciting football. Omar and Ashworth will find the right chap, and I'm sure they'll be watching every match and won't do a Chelsea overhaul. Well, it still is very interesting, isn't it? It's very interesting that how people perceived what Jim Ratcliffe said about Erik ten Hag. What he didn't say, because he was asked about Erik ten Hag, wasn't he? And he said, "I'm not going to talk. I'm not going to talk about it." But then talked about the structure surrounding him and how it's important to fix the structure and how no manager could succeed. And as we spoke about yesterday, some perceive that as actually he's not really focusing on the manager; he's focusing on the structure and allowing the current manager to succeed. Some took it as, well, he didn't say anything about Ten Hag, so he kind of dodged the question. But then he also did say that since Christmas, he's enjoyed the football. Said it's not where it should be, but has said that United have played some good stuff. So I think that's been a very interesting social experiment of how people interpret words, isn't it? Because depending on your viewpoint, I think of Ten Hag kind of skews this one a little bit. But depending on what people think about the manager currently, people either viewed that as backing, he's going to get sacked, or he hasn't made his mind up. And to see all of those different reactions to it, I thought was very, very curious, actually, because you literally saw so different interpretations of it. Some people saw it as totally, he's gone in the summer, ha 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 ha, he's going in the summer. Others saw it as, hey, well, he's staying, long-term project, and that's really, I'm always really curious to see when people, how they view that kind of stuff. Marcel's on social media saying, it's a 10-year plan. I told you it was a 10-year plan, even though Jim Ratcliffe said in the interview, it's not a 10-year plan. Which I thought was quite interesting. And I tell you, this is why I love Marcel. And get your Marcels in the chat because of this. So let me see if I can find this again, actually, because this is just peak Marcel. There you go. At Marcel11 or 10, if you want to give him a follow on Twitter as well. Let's see if I can find this when it comes to the 10-year plan stuff, because it's brilliant. And he does tweet a lot. You get your free followers worth when it comes to Marcel. Tweets a lot of stuff. I'm still scrolling extensively. That's how much he tweets. Where is this one? Honestly, It's still, this is all in the space of like a day. This is crazy. Where is his 10-year plan thing? He's talking about journalism there. He's still talking about David De Gea. Marcel's still sharing comments of David De Gea kicking the ball out of play, which is insane. Is this it? There you go. Right, I found it. I had to scroll deep to find this. So it was the clip of saying Jim Ratcliffe saying he's impressed by some of the players, and he's asked about Erik Ten Hag, and he says he's not going to talk about Ten Hag, but he's talked about the structure, and he's happy with some of the football that's been played since Christmas. Marcel said, this is a quote tweet, "I always get laughed at. They laughed at me for looking at the club over a 10-year span. The man running our football operations thinks similar. Should I tell you that the plan for the next 10 years? I know it. I've already been thinking it." And this is when sometimes I have to take a step back from social media, because I was very tempted with this to get the quote and put in there the response that says it's not a 10-year plan. Fans won't have the patience for that. But I thought, why ruin it? Why ruin that? Why should I ruin Marcel's fun? So I decided not to do it in that instance. But yeah, it's not a 10-year plan. It's not. it's he said, what he say, 3 to 4 years, I think he said. Definitely not next season, but yes. Director of Football says, exactly, his card very close. It's Owen trying to find sides. Everyone saw it as non-Ten Hag comments, but he was clear with his opinions on everything. Structure scares some people, with a clown emoji. I don't say I'm trying to find sides when it comes to that. I think, we literally saw it in the chat yesterday, is people perceived it many different ways. That's not trying to find sides. That's asking the question. Not asking the question saying, how did you interpret that? And people having different opinions isn't me going, I'm telling you what to think. It's not about that at all. And structure scares people. We've been screaming for it. We've been screaming for structure. Go and get these people out. I don't think anyone's going, make sure John, Darren, they've all got to stay. They need to stick around. They've been doing a good job. I think it's very interesting that, like I said just a few minutes ago, people are looking at what he said there. And I suppose that's the thing when you have comments that are ambiguous, is it leads room or maneuver to be interpreted many different ways as well. So, yeah, I think that's very interesting. Director of Football says, which people? People in the chat that you're talking to right now. We had a poll. I think people, I think the majority actually said they thought it was back in Ten Hag. And some said no. To be fair, there wasn't an option that said don't know or neither, which probably should have been in there, to be fair. But, yeah, I think people did look at that many different ways. And that's fine. This is also the thing. Just because someone perceives something different to you, particularly when it's a bit ambiguous like that, it doesn't mean it's wrong. Like, it doesn't mean that's incorrect. That's just how they viewed it. That's the beauty involved in all of this. The beauty involved in coming on, channels like this, or just coming on to whatever, or you're chatting outside the ground, you're chatting at the pub, you're going back and forth on social media. That's what it is. It's a debate. It's a debate. It's people going, I don't see it like that. I see it like this. Okay, why do you see it like this? Why do you see it? Why? So when he said this, why did you see it like that? Because I saw it like this. Not, you're wrong. I'm right. You're wrong. I see it this way. And if you don't see it my way, you're a fool. Because it's not cut and dry. That is not a cut and dry situation. And that's the debate point, isn't it? But, that's what Director of Football is saying. No, we've got eyes. We can read. I do want to talk about very quickly some praise for Rasmus Højlund as well before I wrap things up. So Dimitar Berbatov has been talking about the Manchester United striker as well. He's been saying Højlund scored another 2 goals at Luton, and his second goal was him showing quick judgment of the situation and him knowing exactly where the goal was. This is how good strikers need to react in the box. Was it a nice goal? Hell no. It was an ugly goal. But for a striker, it doesn't matter. If it's in the back of the net, then he's the happiest guy on the pitch. You need these types of goals sometimes to keep scoring. He then said, the confidence is booming for Højlund and he thinks he can score from everywhere now. Højlund has now scored in 6 consecutive Premier League games, which shows the form and mentality he has right now. I've never been big on statistics, but I think I had 5 or 6 consecutive games in the Bundesliga in which I scored, but I can't exactly remember. But even if I didn't, it didn't bother me. He then said he just needs to treat the next game like the first and go for 7. When you're full of confidence and you step on the pitch, you feel different. The opposition knows this, so the opposition are currently afraid of Højlund. Now, I saw, I think it was a Sky thing. I saw a thing on Sky Sports News, and they were comparing Rasmus Højlund to Erling Haaland. And this is such a dumb comparison, really. People are like they're the same person, or because their name begins with H and they're blonde. You know, they play for United and City. There's no comparison. Like there isn't no. The comparison's not there. And if you're going to compare Erling Haaland's goal record, and they were doing this like this season, his goal record this season in comparison to Rasmus Højlund. Of course Haaland's going to be better. Erling Haaland scored more goals. He's got a better goal per minute or goal per game ratio than Rasmus. Of course he does. Rasmus Højlund didn't score for the first 14 odd games. It was just a really weird thing to do. And as I've said before, like for when you know, you can score in goals and you can get scoring games rather. You can get praise for that. That's fine. But when you do things that legitimately no one else has done, like Rasmus Højlund has done, being the youngest person to score in 6 Premier League games consecutively, I think you're allowed to get a bit of praise for that. You're allowed to stick out your chest anything as well. You can do that. Like, this is what I don't get with this too, is that there has been this pushback, hasn't there, of he scored 7 in 6. And some of the notion that that's what he's meant to be doing, so he doesn't deserve any praise. I think if it was any other player in the Premier League, we'd absolutely be praising them. If it was Mo Salah, if it was Erling Haaland, if it was whoever, we'd be going, that's pretty good going. Like that's good going. That's impressive, particularly in a side that hasn't been doing great this season, hasn't been creating that many chances this season, and actually we said it on the preview that in the first something like 17 games or whatever this season, United averaged like a goal a game. That's recently gone up to like 2.7 goals a game or something. So United have started scoring more goals. They have started creating more chances, and he deserves praise for that. And when you praise him, don't have to compare him to Erling Haaland, because the comparison's not there. He's not Erling Haaland. Everyone knows that Rasmus Højlund isn't Erling Haaland or anything like that. If you're going to do a more appropriate comparison, if you're going to compare him all season, then you might as well compare him in the last 6 games and go, oh, see, then you can change the sample size whenever you want. This is what we say about statistics. They can easily be manipulated. It's not that difficult, is it? So we can praise him. And at the same way, if he doesn't score tomorrow, then he's rubbish. He's rubbish again. Terrible. He should be ashamed of himself. No, I think he'll have chances tomorrow. I think he'll probably score tomorrow as well. So I think the comparison is kind of nuts. And as I mentioned before, I think that he deserves the praise. He really, really does. And I think more so than he deserves the praise more so than that's just what he's meant to be doing. He's just scoring goals. Because strikers, yes, they score goals, but they don't always score in 6 consecutive Premier League games. That's top level stuff at a big club like Manchester United. And he's a young guy as well, 21 years old. To be doing that in the Premier League when you're the only striker we've got, like the hopes are on your shoulders, and to be delivering, that's a huge credit to him. So he absolutely deserves praise for that, no doubt about it. So there you go, guys. That's the morning view for you this morning. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. How many likes did we get to? We got to 366. We've still got over 1,000 people watching. So I still believe it's possible to get to 500. I say easy we can get to 400. We've got less than 40 likes to go until 400. Actually, it's like 33 likes to go, really. So if you haven't already, click that like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner. You would have seen on the sidebar this morning the things that are coming up over the next couple of days, of course. Later on today, as I mentioned, press conference. Around 2 o'clock, I'll be live with you to go through all of the quotes, all of the questions, all of the responses from Erik ten Hag as well. In addition to that, 6 p.m, a reminder, the Trinity podcast will be dropping this week's episode. which is episode 4, will be dropping. A reminder, it was recorded on Wednesday, but still, it's very, very good. Very good. Lots of people have been really enjoying that, and KG was on another level this week, because not only, again, because had he not seen the quotes, in addition to that, he had just woke up. That's why he hadn't seen the quotes too. So it was good. You just got to see it. You've just got to see it. So that's going to be dropping 6 o'clock. Tomorrow, of course, it's match day. So nice and early, we'll have the road trip for you as Flex is back on the road to Old Trafford. Of course, we're facing off against Fulham. It's a 3 p.m. kickoff, and so many people have been enjoying the sort of updated match view streams. We've been going live for longer, more extensive, more build-up, more analysis, all that kind of stuff. So tomorrow it's a 3 o'clock kickoff. We're going to be live at 1 p.m. tomorrow. Yes, a full 2 hours before kickoff, we're going to be live. So join us tomorrow, 1 p.m. We'll have all of the build-up. Obviously, we'll have all of the reaction in-game. We'll have the post-match analysis as well. Then afterwards, we'll have the full-time view where you can call in and have your say if indeed you are a member. We'll have the fan views dropping, player ratings, all that kind of stuff. You guys have really been enjoying it. So we're giving you what you want. That's what you want. We're going to be giving it to you. So be sure to join us then as well. 8 likes away. 8 likes away. 7 likes away from 400. So we can get 400 whilst we're on the way out. Anyway, guys, I'll see you later on this afternoon for the press conference, and have a great Friday. I'm out of here. Peace.